Well, greetings, one and all. Yeah, you don't think I'd be able to shut myself up these days, do you? Still Weaver, John C. from Roseman, California. What's going on, guys? The 6th of March, 2022. The time index right now. Oh, it's just about 20 before 7 o'clock in the morning Pacific Standard Time. Well, sometimes I gotta burp my ass, and this is one of those asses I gotta get out of. This is really pissy. Especially when I run into a news article concerning about certain, oh, not politically active, but actually military active websites out there that pulls up weird stories, including of a conference that took place a short time ago, maybe within the past few weeks. The United States Air Force Academy had invited someone to speak, a keynote speaker. And the keynote speaker they picked out for this one particular symposium they had. Hold on, because I'm still trying to go through this with a unsoured stomach. A nationalist Christian named Ben Carson. Yeah, you heard me do the inflections right. Not of the name, but of the nationalist Christian. Now, besides getting into that quagmire, let me get into the other thing I'm looking at here, because I'm reading this off of the Military Religious Freedom Foundation website, in an article that was published back on February 28th, 2022. So you guys want to check that thing out on the internet, go ahead. It's a legitimate thing. I may have to find it somewhere to get this hooked up to the postings eventually. Because I need to. I need to send this over to myself and keep it. What drives me crazy on this one, he was answering a cadet's question. I wish I had the cadet's question on this one. They didn't they didn't say what the cadet's question was, but the reactions of what he had done and said. I've really got to do some further research to see whether or not if he's actually lost his mind or not. This is supposed to be a neurosurgeon that ran for politics and didn't do a very good job at politics, which tells me that maybe he should have stuck to medicine, or maybe not. But when I hear someone screwing up political science 101 regarding our creation's birth, and then starts telling people that who doesn't believe, or actually believing in the separation of church and state, is schizophrenia. A neurosurgeon, not a psychiatric, not a behavioral therapist, not a psychologist, a neurosurgeon. The guy who screws around with your damn brain cells. Yeah, him. And he was the one who tried to run for Congress back in 2016 and crashed and burned next to Trump, but got picked up by the schmuck anyway. I don't know why. I should have figured it out a long time ago. But the thing of it is, besides the ranting and raving that I can actually pour onto this situation, I need to get a little bit more, hopefully, more facts and not opinions on this one. When England was going through its turmoils back in the 1500s and 1600s, basically in the 1500s, they were going against Spain and France and trying to find out who's going to be dominating who and what and where. Basically, it was a domineering game of the waters. who's going to have more sphere of influence? Who's going to have the more supply run for the damn thing in the first place? And since the country is kind of running out of materials, they still needed a fresh supply of material. Well, conquer a new land is the only option you got. And if there's any more trade routes to be done through the Middle East, or actually through the Far East, find a faster trade route instead of the ones that you know of. And what happens is we get the Caribbean discovered, we get the Caribbean exploited, we get the Central and Northern America exploited as well, while Southern America is getting its job done too. So we have Europe poking around and giving people diseases left and right while trying to use people as slaves, use them as converts, use them period. Some Indians liked the people just as is. Others hated the guts. Well, I don't blame the Native Americans for that. Us European descendants can be a real pain in the asses right next to our ancestors, unfortunately. So, what the hell, what can I say? But in dealing with some of our travels into the new land, we do have colonists who are trying to escape conditions happening back home, including in England, where you have a ruler deciding that he is going to be deciding which religion you're going to worship and makes it state sponsored. Thus, we have the Church of England. We have the Church of England. If you're a Protestant, you're screwed. If you're going to be believing in Catholicism, you're screwed. If you're going to be believing in anything else, you're screwed. Because you have to believe in this. Because we tell you to. Because the King of England demands it. People wanted freedom. They wanted freedom to celebrate whatever they want. They can't do it in England because England says, screw you, I'm the English, I'm the King of England. You're not, you're my subjects. Deal with it. With that kind of an attitude, we definitely needed to have places to worship for ourselves and how we want to worship in whatever fashion. To go forward in time, we had to make sure that if we were going to be having the 13 colonies made into a nation, or the basic building blocks of a nation, we had to make sure that our rights, our beliefs, our hopes and dreams were written in documentations necessary for the future. And part of it is in the Bill of Rights. It's also in our Constitution, which is part of the Bill of Rights. And I need to get into we get into the First Amendment. Now, according to all sources that lead into the United States government, including into our documentations, I am using one particular site called, oh, you might well know it, it's congress.gov. Constitution.congress.gov. And in there for the First Amendment, here we go. Congress shall make no law respecting establishment of religion or the prohibiting the free exercise thereof. semicolon, or abridging the freedom of speech, comma, or of press, comma, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances, period. Basically saying in one mouthful that in half of it, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. They're saying that there is a separation of church and state here, because we sure as hell didn't want to have Congress or another ruling party saying that we want this to happen now. That's it. It's going to happen this way. We're going to have this religion. We're going to be worshiping this way, and you don't have a say about it. No. The Constitution does not say that. I'll read it again. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Now that's saying part of it right there, because the rest of it would talk about the freedom of speech or the freedom of press or the right of the people peacefully to assemble and petition the government for a redress of grievances. Basically, if you're pissed off at the government for something, you can protest them like crazy. Basically, since we have the press to talk about what's happening around us, we need information anyway. So the press is good information sources. They get it from sources, tell everybody else what's going on. It's cool. And since we're doing a communication here, boys and girls, I communicate to you. You somehow, one of these here days, are going to be communicating back to me through the comments. I'll probably be dead and buried during that time, but who knows? But let's be communicating. But here's the thing. Religion and politics, no good for each other. People keep forgetting that history shows us that a lot of our conflicts have been land squabbles, but also regarding religion. People have forgotten about the Crusades. England wanted to conform and make sure that the Middle East complies with Christianity only. Not realizing that we have nations built upon a religious base belief systems, and that they take, well, let's just say they're absolutely ticked off, pissed off, and royally mad at people who are trying to tell them that you can't believe in that way. You have to believe in this one way. Otherwise, let's go to war. And why do you think we had the Crusades in the first place? Everybody keeps forgetting about the damn Crusades in the first place. Started by Christians. Yes, I said Christians. We need to convert and make sure everyone complies that we have to believe. Now, don't take it the wrong way. I'm not an atheist. I'm not an agnostic. But there are certain aspects of Christianity I do have a problem with. And one of which is pushing it down people's throats saying, you must believe, you must believe, you must believe. Here, I'm going to take your hit here. Believe in God. I don't think so. The power of God's going to be upon your face again. Believe. I don't think so. And why not? I don't know. Well, after you confronted the guy and after you'd made your opinions known to the gentleman in a certain way, trying to force feed belief It just doesn't work that way. I'm sorry to say that. Forcing people to believe in a certain religion. How would your God feel if your tells you that you have to force people to believe? Now, I know in the Bible that there are stories in there concerning about this. There was Abraham trying to sacrifice his son. He loved God so much. His son loves God so much. But the thing is, his son was scared shitless when he sees his father about to sacrifice him on a damn altar because God's telling him to. That's one of the things I can never understand concerning about the Old Testament. You have to keep forcing people to shed blood in order to believe? Great. Does it mean I have to start shedding blood too in order to say to people I believe in God? I know I believe in God because, well, if you folks have been checking my videos and know the history of how I came to birth, you also know about the damn scar in the damn chest. You know I had open heart surgery, age of 4 years old, died on the table 3 times while they're trying to repair mitral valves, and come back down to earth scared shitless of everything. But at least I believe. I believe there was a power out there that scared the shit out of me. No aliens, just something totally beyond and bizarre. So, getting back to Ben Carson here. Getting back to a surgeon who had to go through politics to realize what an ignorant ass he is. When he tells people that you're schizophrenic because you believe in a separation of church and state and it's not in the Constitution, but he calls himself a nationalist Christian. I'm wondering who's got the mental illness at this point. When Christ was born, he didn't have the following called Christians. Everyone was still Jewish, or whatever uh, religious beliefs they still had. They're still believing in God during that time, but they also believed in Christ. But they didn't call themselves Christians until after Christ died, and you had a movement going on. But he never called himself a nationalist. He never believed in nations. He believed in people, period. He didn't believe in governments, he believed in people. People did the government situation in order to control and govern and serve people somehow. Instead, we usually serve ourselves when we're the rulers. But I don't understand about the national Christian. That doesn't mean a damn thing. Unless you're into a movement saying that you're going to be forcing a religion down people's throats who've been believing in God in their own way, and you're telling them they no longer have the right to do so. You're going to sugarcoat it, but you're still going to force the right. You're still going to force the issue down their throat. See, it doesn't work. It doesn't work because now you're telling people that only Christ belongs to the United States of America or to one particular country. He belongs to mankind. It doesn't belong to one country. It belongs to the world, to the universe. But we have to be ignorant of things. To end this thing, I still need to remind you folks, the Bible is indeed an important book for moral lessons and for spiritual guidance and for the encouragement that we need to take in and understand what's happening around us. Because a lot of strange stuff has been happening around us that we still can't explain. But we still need to understand and believe that there is a connection out there that we can grasp onto, hold on to it, and then pray that we walk through whatever situation we've got going using this newfound power and faith, and then hopefully not skull thump people into believing into this thing. Well, we can talk to them, we can introduce it, but that's about it. We can't skull thump. Because Christ never skull thumped. He destroyed a marketplace, but he didn't skull thump. If this ever gets viewed by Ben Carson, the notable neurosurgeon that seems to be losing his mind, kindly remind the gentleman to pick up a damn history book, or at least a government book, Political Science 101. Or, better yet, how to scare the living crap out of him, send him back to community college. Have him talk to a political science professor. Of course, he's going to ignore it and not do these things because he thinks he's above everything. You talk about schizophrenia? And this is coming from a 56-year-old fart in a community college in this area. Try that one. Quack.